Meanwhile, Nollywood is yielding to the love demands as Valentine's beckon with love-themed movies leading the list in cinemas. One of them is Love in a Pandemic. This story highlights how love thrived under the most unlikely circumstance. Take a look.
Hey, baby. Hello.
Ink-Blood's story of falling in love with a stranger during a pandemic leads to charge in the cinema's romantic season as Valentine's Day beckons. The movie titled Love in a Pandemic stars Deyemi Okanlawon, Nancy Isime and Esodike and is told against the backdrop of the 2020 COVID-19 lockdown that birthed the new normal this day.
Opportunities life has given you. Whoever is going to be with you needs to see that.
If you're like this as friends, I wonder what you're like as a lover.
To be honest, I thought it was one of the most relatable scripts that I've ever read. I mean, I didn't find love in the pandemic, but I know a few people who did. And I mean, you know, everybody was forced to work remotely or not work at all. Everybody was home, so it's not something that a portion of the world was exempt from. Everybody on planet Earth, at least apart from you guys who had press tags, everybody was forced to stay at home and work and just embrace the new norm. So it was very, very relatable for me.
Co-produced by Nollywood giant studio Ink-Blood and directed by rising filmmaker Ahibe Ilozobie, the movie feels more like a service of documenting history rather than working on a movie project.
Thank God you people finally
It's one of those stories where it's a vital point in time. Once I mention the pandemic, your mind goes to 2020. You can almost remember what you wore, what you did, how you were living. It's an interesting point in time. It's the same way your parents will call during the period of independence or, you know, things like that. And what you realize was that there were so many experiences during that period. It wasn't just limited to people falling ill. People found love, people got married, people found new ways to work. You know, now we all say Zoom meeting and it's a regular thing. Before this, remote work was something that was almost unheard of. Now all of us are saying remote work, Zoom meetings, social distancing, all of those kind of things. Now I know people who live in Nigeria but work in the US or in Canada, all because of the pandemic. So there are positives from it. So this is just, hey, did a love story come about during the pandemic? Yes, maybe. Can we tell that? It creates a different atmosphere. How do people find love when they can't go out to meet each other? We hear about people who meet each other in DMs, and from those DMs, if they meet each other and then it becomes something, and somewhere down the line they possibly get married. And this is something similar. AK kind of like did it as a favor to his guys because AK had also that kind of thing where AK started out in production. He was a PA on one of our other movies. That's how he started out and worked his way up to being a director. These are the guys that he started out working with, and now they want to make their own movie. So it's kind of like when you have friends from secondary school and all of you work your way up, and no matter where you go to, you see each other and you're like, hey, my guy, how can we all come together to do something, you know? So that's what this is, and we just feel, look, we just want to facilitate and help.
Thank you for calling JJ Logistics. My name is Bolande.
Deyemi Okanlawon, who more often than not has been taking up the bad boy character in Nollywood, gets to pick up the positive character that re-emphasizes the uniqueness of love.
It reminds me of how little people who are not actors or in the film industry, how little they understand, you know, what it takes to, one, be an actor, two, to embody a role. It's a lot of work, especially when you're trying to do it with excellence. In fact, what people don't realize, a lot of people who are in film and who aren't actors, is that actors don't act. They become. So we're not pretending as if we are in love. We're not pretending as if we are angry. We're not pretending as if we're going through some situation or that's affecting us. We have a very strong, real connection with what is going on, and the feelings that we have is real. And so becoming Alex for me was pretty tough because, you know, here I was having, first of all, come from playing a series of very somewhat dark roles, and having to detox myself from those roles. And now I'm faced with a story where, there's a lot of positive emotions, and a lot of, I call it, like, when I first saw it, it was like, oh, these guys are calling me to come and give an outpouring of love. And that was a bit challenging. Technically, the fact that, you have to graduate the level of emotion, as, when people meet each other, as Alex met Bolanle, you have to graduate that. You can't have the same feeling and run that same feeling throughout. It gets more intense with time. And just measuring that, especially because in film, sometimes we can shoot the last scene before the first. So you have to, you just have to carefully monitor that.
Love in a Pandemic also features Tenny Aladese, Uche Montana, and Ronke Otunsoya.
Leaving TJ, I just said I started talking to a stranger.
You've made the best of opportunities life has given you.